Ridgeway Residences, a modern, exclusive residential community offered by Ariza. Purchase one of our completely built houses or let us build for you by simply choosing your lot, choosing your home design from our selection, and let us do the rest. Owning a home does not have to be a frustrating process. For more information, contact Ariza Credit Union on 415-0994 or send us an email on info@ridgewayresidences.gd. Ridgeway Residences, hassle-free home ownership.
Are you a progressive young leader, a proactive emerging executive, a rising professional? Then you need appropriate cover for your vehicle. Introducing the Pro Motor Plan from Beacon. Car insurance that includes free loss of use, windscreen cover up to $3,500, free special perils, free accident forgiveness. Get Beacon's Pro Motor Plan today. Don't procrastinate. Call Beacon today at 440-4447 or visit beacongrenada.com.
Yes. Check. Yeah. Welcome to Ride Along Live for today, Wednesday. Nice, beautiful, not so hot Wednesday. Yeah. Yulene, I see you. Jennifer Lawrence, how you do? You good? Lydia Louisanne, how you do? All the true riders, everybody share the thing, share the program right now, guys. We ain't wasting no time today. Lacey J, how you do? Today we have a conversation. Good evening, Lenora. As you come in, guys, put up your location. Let me know where you're watching us from. I want to big you up. Roll call. Lacey, thank you for sharing. Everybody just follow us. Today we have an important conversation. Well, I'm interested to listen to this conversation because, to tell you the truth, I am going to learn about this story in real time. I am going to be following the story just like how you guys are following the story in real time. All right? Yes. So we're going to be speaking with Mr. Ryan Chasteau. And for those of you who are paying attention, I've been looking at social media. Ryan Chasteau is staging a protest. This man, he is protesting the use of wearing a seatbelt. And he is saying that he's prepared to go to jail. Well, he might just get his wish. He might just go to jail. Tomorrow will be his fate when he sits in front of the judge. Nonetheless, he decided to do this today, to talk about this. And we are going to find out more. Yes. Right? So that's the premise. That's where we're starting. That's the story. Let me big up some of the viewers before we go on with Mr. Ryan Chasteau. Hey, big up to New York. Montreal in the house. How you doing? Montreal. Listen, I'm seeing more and more folks on Montreal. What's happening in Montreal? Did somebody go around and knock on everybody's door in Montreal and say, Ride Along Live, Ride Along? I'm seeing a lot of people from Montreal. Big up Montreal. Big up Canada, Quebec, Mississauga, Brampton. Yeah. Big up to the folks in Canada, United States. Hey, big up Grenada. The folks in St. George, St. Patrick, St. David, St. Mark. Go St. John. Montreal. You see Montreal? Yeah, Montreal. You guys are just there. You guys are just there. I have to come to Montreal. It's been a while. Haven't been to Montreal. Big up yourself. Roll call, guys. One more minute of the roll call. Lacey, Lois, JJ, how you doing? Big up yourself, my producer. I call her my boss. All over the world. We big all over the world. Yes. Big. I like that. We big all over the world. Yes. I agree. Ain't nobody big like Ride Along, right? Nice. All right, guys. So we see Montreal again. Jefflet. Ragba Singh. Big up yourself. Yeah. Montreal are coming. Montreal are coming. Yeah, let boss buy a ticket for me to go Montreal, please. Tell the producer, please, send me to Montreal. Yeah, I know the French speaking. Parlez français, so I could get along in Montreal. I'm good. Don't worry about it. Grand Bra, how you doing? Nice. Thanks, you guys. And also, before we start, I also want to thank our sponsors that continue to bless us and continue to support this platform. Ride Along Live is a platform where everyone has a story to tell. And guys, for 10 years straight, we have been going viral. Every year, every day, this program is highly anticipated. And we're thankful because you guys are the ones who made us number one. So we really appreciate you. Go out, big up yourself. All right. Okay. So let's start the thing, right? I go big up everybody I didn't get to big up in the beginning. I go big you up at the end. So as I said, guys, St. Vincent big up. As I said, guys, my next guest, Mr. Ryan Chasteau, has been protesting the use of seatbelt, and he outlined a list of reasons why he should not wear a seatbelt. Now, let me give you the regulation as stated in the law in Grenada. Seatbelt in Grenada, history and current regulation. So they said the legislation foundation, the seatbelt requirement in Grenada are enshrined in the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act, Chapter 201, which mandates that drivers and passengers must wear seatbelts while moving in a vehicle. Enforcement measures. The Royal Grenada Police Force, RGPF, enforced these rules. Non-compliance will lead to substantial amount of fines, about 1,000 EC dollars, which is about a little bit over $400 for non-compliance of the seatbelt law. And that's $400. That's $1,000 per offense, right? So they take it very, very serious. Child safety requirement. They say here, complementary regulations specific that children under 5 must use a child safety or booster seat, and those at the age of from 5 to 12 must wear seat belts. Fines, level, and penalties. First offense, as I said, well, not first offense. Although seatbelt wearing is not seatbelt wearing and getting locked up for not wearing your seatbelts is not really enforced, but there are scenarios that they're saying for refusal to wear your seatbelt, you could face substantial fine and up to 5 years in prison, right? So the RGPF is strictly and has been strictly enforcing seatbelt laws. Now, I got tickets, full disclosure, I got tickets while driving already in Grenada for not wearing seatbelts. However, I firmly believe that, and when I got the ticket, I didn't argue. I took it. I paid the ticket, right? Because if it's law, it's right that the law enforcement enforce it. That's how I saw it. And then if I have to go to court, fight it afterwards, that would be the process. But my next guest, Ryan, saying that shouldn't be legislated for him to wear a seatbelt because that is for his own protection, and he don't think that the law has a right to regulate that. So let's bring on the program here. Tonight, first time on the ride, but you've probably seen him on social media before, Ryan Chasteau. Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. And it's a pleasure to have you on your show. You know, I'm thankful for the opportunity where I could use your platform to probably educate the people of some of their rights and freedom and understanding probably a lot of people been seeing me going on and on with that, and I guess they want to know and probably want some enlightenment. So I appreciate you for having me on your program. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, First of all, I want to listen to your position, your stance. I have tons of questions, and I'm sure the viewers have a lot of questions as well. But I want to hear your position on this, Ryan. Let's start with this one. What really motivates you to publicly refuse to wear your seatbelt, knowing that it is a legal requirement in Grenada?
hmm Well, here one time I got ticketed for a seatbelt, and I was actually there is when you're doing law, there's a things like all loopholes and so on. So one of my first attempts, like driving for over 20 something years, I got always in line with the law, right? I don't have tickets that you see like cause the offenses like tires previously or any kind of thing. So I have a clean slate for driving over since 2004, which is about 21 years. However, when I went to the court, um, I went in court and my hearing, I had that charge against me brought before me for a seatbelt. And well, I kind of educate myself a little bit on certain things. So I went up winning the case and I came outside. So I met this old friend of mine, probably around maybe about 68, 70 around there. It was a old, well, I could say, maybe more than that, probably an old guy, I could say, compared to me. And I saw him there in pain and agony, and I'm saying, well, bro, what you doing here? And he was here, a seatbelt charge and so on. He sat down there on the concrete because in the courthouse traffic they don't have no benches outside. So when you come, you have to sit down on the floor or whatever. And I watched that guy, knowing how that guy worked real hard his whole life, and he worked tremendously hard. And I know his wife is sick, and they don't look like they have any children to take care of them and so on. And I look at that guy in his grievance, only to find out in his pain he had to like basically lie down on the side. And I felt that pain for that guy. At the age of contributing so much in your society of all these years, you come now and you have this been happening. So I met the guy afterwards. I said, but no, that's not fair. You come here for a charge and so on. He told me after that he was charging the court $350. I know I'm telling you, with the society right now with cost of living and things is very, very old, that and you have a wife in that age, sickly, and probably he told me something like diabetes and things. So I know the situation isn't that nice. So it was born in me, in my heart, to actually I have been in situations where my dad he contested a seatbelt law before, and he was bringing to my attention that the seatbelt law is illegal. And I listened to his points. Well, he come from a law background, even myself as well, and he stood up for it, and he always used to be telling me over and over, we need somebody in society to stand up for the people that don't have a voice and can't hear themselves much. So knowing me, I knew I took certain oaths before. Previous to that, I was probably going to church for a lot of years, and one time I went to a church, I think it was Fellowship of Believers. I was there for maybe I would 4 years, 3, 4 years, and there was this oath they had in the church. I know that you would stand to make a difference in society, your generation, by fulfilling, and I said I took that oath to make a change in my life for the generation after. So hence the reason I don't even really bother about myself much, but I fight for rights and freedom of other people. So I've been an activist for the last maybe 3, 4 years. From since COVID, I've been an activist, and it was upon my heart to actually stay and make do something about it. So um, it actually derived from seeing a elderly guy who I have full respect for, and it derived from there that I'm saying, no, why is it that they're making a law, they don't concern about the man health and safety, being that age, it's okay if the man have food to eat, but all your concern is about getting a charge for monetary funds to go to the state to, I don't know why it is, politicians or whatever, but they don't concern about us. So you want to ask me anything before I go
Yeah,
forward
yeah.
to explain?
A couple things, right? A couple things.
Mhm.
So you don't agree that the Motor Vehicle and Road Act, Chapter 201, which mandate all drivers to wear the
Mhm.
seatbelt, you don't agree with that,
No.
right? Okay, but you do have to somehow agree that it's a law. It's written. It is the law, right? You agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is a law,
So,
but I don't agree with the
right,
law. Yeah.
right, and that is fine. There are a lot of things in the law that we don't agree with. So,
Mm-hmm.
do you agree that law enforcement officers are there basically to enforce the law? That is their mandate. They didn't write the law.
Yeah.
They can't even change the law. They have
Yeah.
to enforce the law. So, do you
Yeah.
agree that?
With due diligence. This is true, but um, right here in my hands, right, I have the supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution, right? I just hold it here
Right.
for you guys to see, right? Now,
Okay.
every single law you make, it must go in accordance with this law. So if it
Okay.
doesn't go in accordance with the Constitution of Grenada from 1973, then
Right.
they basically you cannot make a law without a constitution and bypassing the Constitution. So I've been
Okay.
studying law for maybe for the past 3 years. So basically, I could say I'm a law student. And when
Well,
so long as you make laws,
you're not a law student. You've been studying the
yeah,
law. Did you go to
yeah,
law school? Did you go to law school?
I'm still in the process of it studying.
Okay.
And by I'll enlighten you on something, right? Anything you
Yes.
do, you don't need to go to a school to study, right? You could
No,
just
I
buy
understand.
books. Yeah,
Right.
so you
Right.
want to be a plumber, you could buy books, you could study, So I consider myself and I study in law, so then it makes me a law student.
Okay. You're privately studying law, but
Yeah,
still, if you understand law, and again, I'm just asking this question because I want to understand where your headspace is. Right. I'm trying to understand the whole thing.
yeah,
If you understand so much about law, you would
mm,
understand that there are the legislators, the people who actually
mm,
write the law, parliamentarian. Those are the people who are going to sit in parliament tomorrow and
yeah,
hammer out a law, write a law, and that law
mm,
have to be enforced. And the
mm-hmm.
judiciary, which is the court system, they don't make the law either. They interpret the
Yeah,
law.
the interpreted
So
law, yes.
right. So you have the people who write the law, the people who enforce the law, and then you go in front of the judge and the judge interpret the law. But do you understand
Mm-hmm.
that these are the trifecta?
Mm,
This is how the system is set up. Whether you like it
yeah,
or not, do you understand
yeah.
that this is how the system is set up?
I understand how the system is set up, and
Right.
mind you, to rephrase what you said, I wouldn't say that I understand law fully. I'm still studying, and maybe you could say one of the best lawyers in the island. Still, would say probably he's not. Law is so big, you can't really learn everything in law.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. No, I
yeah,
understand, but just the basic structure, because I am no law student. I ain't go to law school. I ain't
yeah,
even studying law. The most I was
yeah,
closest to law, I used to be a process server, but that's it, right? So I'm not
yeah,
in deep like that. But I
yeah,
just want us to understand that you also understand that there are
mm,
the people who write the law, they are the police officers who enforce the law, and then they
mm,
are the judges who interpret the law.
mm,
We understand that this is
mm,
how the system is set up,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So your protest, is it a protest against the people who write the law, the people who enforce the law, or the people who interpret the law? So we have a good understanding.
Well, it goes the three ways that I talk about, right?
Okay.
Um, the first of all, when you make a law, as I said, you have to be a legitimate law. And for the viewers out there and that keep saying this is law, this is law. No. If you study the Magna Carta, which is the laws, the Magna Carta will actually tell you that no law is written in stone. So that
Absolutely.
means
That
no.
yeah. Sorry to cut you.
If any single law that has been created could be contested. So
Yes.
I'll give you an example. Back in the ages where you have certain crimes done, you would have death for penalty. Now I bring it back to I think was the Queen of England, where her son did something wrong. The penalty for that was death. And due to the fact that it's her son, they amended the law at the same time, and he wasn't hung to death. So that just showing you that one amendment made in law. So that I'm trying to tell you now, if there is, you could prove that there is certain level of biasness in laws, then
Right.
the law should be revised. That they call they have revised laws, and you have amended laws, and so on.
Right. A
So
lot they have
all these
amendment, but
things is
I know and I understand and I totally agree with you. Laws are
mhm,
always amended. There are always a law
mhm,
that needs to get
mhm.
tighter, right? But
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand which level of the system, of the
Mhm,
judiciary system, are you
mhm,
protesting? Are you protesting that the legislators,
mhm,
the government, the people that sits in
mhm.
parliament, are you
Yeah.
protesting them, or are you protesting the police, or are you protesting the judge?
Yeah. Well, my protest has nothing to do much with police.
Okay,
It basically goes from even the judges, they cannot. You see, it's a process I took upon myself that I just decide there's many ways you could contest a law. You could write and so on like that. Um,
right.
but I chose, and a lot of people probably disagree with the process that I chose. I chose the civil disobedience process. No,
Okay.
this is a process where you willfully breaks the law to have it, amended. So it's a crucial one. I had is way you could so I chose the hardest part, right? That's
Okay.
on me. I don't like writing, and I just feel you don't really get much attention. People watch a letter, they would say they never see a letter, and it goes so much a loophole, it take months. So I just decide, I'm gonna show this. By doing that, I'll try to enlighten people. And the amount of people in Grenada, you'll be surprised that enlightened based on they asking me question, why is it am I doing this and that? And the thing about it, the Grenadians are set of cowards, right? Point blank. They're afraid to stand up for anything. They're afraid to die. They're afraid to think. And for me, I have no fear. I live without no fear. So whenever I doing something, I do it until I get it complete. You
Right.
know.
Okay.
But
So do you agree or disagree with this? Right.
mm,
Child safety requirement.
mm,
The regulation specify that children under 5 must use a
mm,
safety or booster seat, and those 5
mm.
and 12 must wear a seatbelt. Do you agree or disagree with that? You have
Well,
kids? You have kids?
we have I have kids. I have kids. I have
Did,
children.
did,
Yeah,
did,
two children.
did you have them, or would you have your young child sit in the back seat of your car without a seatbelt or without a booster seat?
Well, what I would tell you from experience, let me bypass that thing. From since I growing up, there was never a
Uh-huh.
seatbelt in vehicles, right? So
Oh,
my opinion there still stands, right? That
right.
you know you have a responsibility as a driver to have your passengers secure. But if it is a case where it mostly depends on how you drive, how you operate a vehicle. Now I've been driving for how much? 21 years, I tell you.
But
I've
it's not
never
you.
been in.
Ryan, when you're driving, you don't drive it. People could give you bad driving. Somebody could hit you from the back. Somebody could
Exactly.
ram
I know that.
you could be the best
Yeah,
driver in the world. You're driving for 100 years. You and Christopher
yeah,
Columbus went up to get your license same time. Same time.
yeah,
But
yeah.
somebody could ram you from the back. So that doesn't mean that
Mm. But
you are an
but
exceptional driver.
but there is actually what I would tell you is right with a
Uh,
seatbelt, it is 50-50. So you
uh-huh.
could be in a vehicle traveling without a seatbelt. The seatbelt could kill you, or not wearing a seatbelt, it could save your life. So it is very much debatable because from the history of time, all they could go with statistics of how much lives been saved and how much deaths. And strangely enough, I remember I was looking at that article some time ago. I even showed it to I think was one of the lawyers. I think it was Jerry Edwin, and he was surprised. They did a statistics. I think it was in California in 2018, and the result says that the probability of people living without wearing a seatbelt in accidents is 52.5, right? And the people dying is basically 47.5. So basically, what I'm saying is that the seatbelts, the possibility of being alive is greater than dying. And a couple of years now, I realized I started Googling that, and you know how Google operates when they find out such and certain thing. They actually pulled down the information they had, and I look all over it. I looked for about 6 months, and I couldn't get a piece of data again. You know,
Mm,
so when you make laws, basically when you make a law is a probability of 66% and over when you get votes, but you cannot make a law with a probability of, like, I just put that 50-50, either you die, either you lose. You cannot make a law and say 50. What happened if I meet in an accident or if I have a passenger and the passenger died because of they having on a seatbelt? Do I guarantee or do I sign a contract that because I make them wear the seatbelt, then I give them back their life?
Right.
So it
Well,
is quite debatable.
right. Um,
Mhm.
I want to touch on that percentage here, but I want to go back to that question of your
Mm,
child that's
mm,
sitting in the back seat of your car.
mm.
Do you agree to have that child in a booster seat or a seatbelt, or no?
It all depends. I could tell you, I don't really have a problem with wearing seatbelt. I do wear seatbelt. My son is traveling with me, whether he wants to put it on or not,
Right.
he puts it on. If I'm gonna just speed up a little, and normally I drive around maybe about 20, 22 miles per hour. I don't really drive fast. We don't have much traffic for that. And if I'm late, which very seldom happen, I probably will tell him, watch, put on your seatbelt because I'm traveling. I will be traveling
So you
probably about 35 miles or so.
so you don't have a problem with seatbelt.
No, I don't have. I believe it's one's choice, and I don't believe that it should be a ticketable offense. That's all what I'm fighting for. It's not supposed to be
Okay,
a
okay,
ticketable
all right.
offense.
No, I understand. No, I understand. You're
Mm,
saying that you don't necessarily have a problem with not wearing your seatbelt. You're saying
mhm.
that you don't believe that the authority should mandate you wearing a seatbelt. That's what you're saying.
Correct, correct. Simple,
Right.
simple, simple like that.
Okay. All right.
Wh-
I
When you
understand.
when you ask the question, who benefits from a seatbelt charge? And everybody is very is not even vaguely. You will see directly it's the government that benefits. Now I've been doing a research, and every year per annum the state makes over $2.3 million accumulated in just seatbelt charges between um seatbelts and courthouse, 350, $500, $100 tickets. They make over that. And strange enough with me, they come in and give me a charge, but are still allowing me to travel not wearing a seatbelt because I tell them unless the state or whatever can sign a contract that if I'm in an accident, you're giving me back my life. I'm not gonna be forced to wear a seatbelt, and that's just point blank.
Right.
I am a citizen of Grenada, and if I go in a next man country, I might take a different perspective. I jump in a man car and he tell me, boss, put on a seatbelt. I have a choice. No, that's where choice coming now.
Oh,
I have a
so
choice
let me.
either to
So I
get a
understand. I
eh?
understand. You would wear
Mhm,
it. So if you come to the United States, say you
mhm,
came to the US, and the law in the US, which it is the law in the US that you can't. I'm getting an echo. I don't know where the echo coming out from. Yeah. Yeah. So the law in the US states that you have to wear a seatbelt. Would you then wear a seatbelt in the US? Would you defy the laws of the United States, just as how you defy the laws of Grenada?
Yeah, I would. I use my discretion. No,
Okay.
if
Did
if
you
I'm
get a call?
if I'm
Your audio dropped. Your audio dropped significantly. Bounce out and come back in. Bounce out and come back in.
okay.
It's gonna fix the audio problem as well. Guys, we're talking here with Ryan Chateau, and we're speaking about this situation. The brother is protesting wearing of a seatbelt, and I believe that we have him back on. Are
mhm.
you back? You hear me now?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Yeah,
Right. Yeah, probably somebody call, and would that happen sometimes? Um
yeah, yeah.
right. So yeah, so if you travel to the United States or travel to Trinidad or travel to
Mm,
what Canada or whatever, and the law
mm,
there is the same that you
mm.
should wear a seatbelt. Would you follow it there, or would you have a civil disobedience against that there as well?
As I said, if I'm a guest in a man's country and I'm not living there, it's just like let me make very easily for you. If I come in your house and you tell me take out my shoes, if I
Uh-huh.
want to come inside your house, I take out your shoes. But when I they in my vicinity, I love Greenland and that is my home. So I think I
Ah.
use my discretion.
So you have a selective disobedience. You're selectively disobedient to your own laws.
Yeah. Well, because I believe now throughout the whole world, seatbelt law is basically illegal. But I am not going to go in a next man country and find a next man battle for him. I choose. I mean, it's a matter of choice again. I'll choose in my country that I love so much that I fight for the people here first. I can't go and fight for other people unless I start to fight for my people, and that is how I look at it. You
Let's
know.
be consistent. consistent. You have to be consistent. What I'm trying to understand is, and I think that it, your point is, or should be, or your stance. I ain't gonna make up your mind for you and tell you what you should say.
Yeah.
You are not necessarily against the use of seatbelt because you do understand that if
Yeah.
your child is in the back seat of a car and they're
Mm.
not in a booster seat and they're not wearing seatbelt and that booster seat is not buckled down, for one, the child could fall out of the booster seat. Even if you're going 22
Mm.
miles per hour, someone stop in front
Mm.
of you suddenly, you jam that brakes, that child head is ending up in the windscreen. And there's no
Mm.
way you could say that. That child is just
Mm.
flying straight to the windscreen, right?
Mm.
A
Mm.
fact. I mean, you just have to understand the logic of how the thing works. You're moving at a certain speed, and then the element would just go forward, just like if you jam a front brakes in your bicycle. That's how it
Yeah.
works. Right? Logic's involved with that. So
Yeah.
so you can't deny the fact that having a child in a booster seat, it makes good sense. It makes good logical sense because of what could happen as a potential. Even if you go
Mm.
down in a big hole, you go down in a big hole, or even if somebody
Mm.
have speed bumps on them, they don't even have the sign on it. You go into St. David,
Yeah.
there are about 900 speed bumps, and you miss
Yeah.
one, and you go so the child head hitting the roof, falling back down.
Mm.
You have a child with a concoction.
You know,
So,
do you know? Did you
uh,
ever do a study for it? Because I have over 11 scenarios in Grenada where seatbelt take lives, including breaking a lot of people in life. Even a 7-year-old in 2015 neck broke from a seatbelt. So when you say we could find ways, if you want to back up positive, you could back it up. If you want to be back up negative, you could back it based on you building a defense for one's gain. All right.
right.
Um, the law doesn't. The law, as I'm gonna say, and I bring back to the same child in the back. The law does not apply to the child in the back, the people in the back of buses. It does not apply in the middle of the seat. And even with the left on that section 72A B, is only the driver that is liable to wear a seatbelt and the passenger. However, for the last 3 years, there had never been a case in the courthouse where they charge a passenger. And most of the time, you'll see passengers is not wearing. All the police going to say, let a passenger put on a seatbelt. But as it comes to the driver, that is the one that getting ticket. The driver is being discriminated. And I just always tell people the biggest criminals in Grenada right now is drivers. If you want
Okay.
to see you become a criminal, just get a license and drive a
Right.
vehicle, especially as a man.
Hold on. If you're saying that the law enforcement officers are selectively giving drivers seatbelt, because I do believe
Mm.
that passengers should wear seatbelts as well, and that should be enforced.
Mm.
That's on the books.
Mm.
It says here
Yeah.
passengers and drivers, so it's not just drivers, right?
Mm.
So I'm not.
Mm.
I'll have to check your statistics on that. But you mentioned earlier about a statistic that you couldn't find. So here's a statistic, and it kind of back up a part of what you're saying. You see, wearing seatbelt reduce the risk of death by 45% in front seat passengers in cars. It reduced serious injuries by 50% in the event of a crash. For
Mm.
trucks,
Mm.
SUVs, seatbelts reduce fatality by 60%, right? By
Mm.
60%. So
Mm.
if you are looking at it logistically, do you want to be
Yeah.
on the on the higher end of the spectrum or the lower end of the spectrum? Because if you have a
Oh,
60% chance of survival
yeah.
versus a 40 or 35% chance of survival in the
Mm.
event that you get into an
Yeah.
accident, which one would you choose?
But I'm going, before you go there, right?
Uh-huh.
Before you go there, you have to first understand the source of the document you read, the article. You have to understand who writes it and what are the gains to writing it. Nobody could say, nobody have done. The only way you could do that to get direct results is take a live person, put them as they call it. I don't know if you ever watch crash tests with vehicles. You ever watch any
Yeah.
crash tests with vehicles?
Yeah, I saw
Put
crash
a
test.
live person inside a vehicle, you right? Send them on the same speed at the same exact spot on the wall, and if they die, take back that same person alive again and put him in that same seat and try the
Oh,
scenario. And if he survive.
right.
So
Crash test
no, no,
dummies. No, but the crash test dummies, they have sensors. They have sensors on the
Yeah,
head,
sensor,
and
but
back sensors on the neck.
a crash
So
dummy doesn't.
after a crash says a crash dummy go through a whole ordeal, going 30 miles per hour, going 40 miles per hour, and they come back and they
Mm,
assess it. That's equally what would happen
mm.
to a human being because
You
the
can't say, because let me tell you something about this. This is probability. When you're making laws and probability, I could stay 10 feet from a building and jump off, and nothing happened to me. And I take 5 feet from a building and jump off and I die.
yes, no, I agree, but
So
I'm just looking at the
probability is the most important thing.
okay, all right. I want to move on to the other parts, right? But I just want to make it clear that
Yeah.
see, not make it clear, but I just want to understand if we're clear on this here. Um,
Mm,
do you believe that it is not only legal because the law don't have to mandate common sense? Like I
mm,
think that if
mm,
a child is in the back of a vehicle, the
mm,
vehicle or the car seat should be strapped down to the vehicle.
mhm,
Can't have the child floating in the
mm.
back seat. A little
Okay.
thing as a
Okay. Do it.
a
Yeah.
little thing as
While
a
you raise your concerns, yeah.
yes.
While you raise your concerns, I'm going to refresh your memory, right? What I just said. I just said the only person the law enforces is the driver to wear the seatbelt. You
But
have
that's
the
really
buses coming in green, and they take out
well, that's
all the seatbelts in the back of the buses. Huh?
right. No, you
It
said the
it,
front.
it
You said
shows.
only the driver. You said only the driver.
Yeah,
But it
only the
says
driver that gets ticketed in Grenada is only the driver that gets ticketed. Under the Constitution of Grenada, this is under section 13. It
right.
talks about when you have a law and it's being discriminatory, right? Discrimination. What you're actually showing is a form of discrimination. You cannot make a law and be biased. It's basically you meet two persons driving in a vehicle, and you try just the driver alone, and the other passenger is sitting there without not wearing a seatbelt. This is a form of biasness. The Constitution and the law, the main supreme law of the land, speaks about that. That's discrimination. Discrimination itself is a whole entire different bias, whole thing together, you know? And that's what I'm saying now. If you want to put law, then you look at the constitution that they have a right to travel, where every Grenadian have a right to travel. So why is it that other passengers could travel freely and you put in a restriction on a driver to travel freely? It is against our human rights, fundamental rights of an individual. Now you're talking about a child in the back seat. No, we are a third world country, and that's where you say, as you say, common sense would come in, right? We have trucks. I have trucks too. I have a truck, and I grew up, right, riding in the back of a truck to get to. I lived in Monlong, and instead of walking to go all the way down in Birch Grove and get a bus to go Grenville, I ride in the back of a truck. And look, I am alive and safe, and it was my choice. Nobody hold me and beat me to put on my back, and I would stay in the back of a truck and head and travel to my workplace or my school or whatever. And you have tons of people riding in the back of truck without no seatbelt. You have people in the back of buses, no seatbelt. You have people in the back of cars, no seatbelt. You have people in the back of jeeps. Well, you get the point what I'm saying. The law is biased. The law should be revised, and that's all I'm saying. The only people that benefits from a seatbelt charge by a driver is the courthouse, the state. That alone discriminates its own self, and that law should be revised. That is discrimination, you know.
Right. Okay.
Then I could probably go closer in depth. You want to ask me anything before
Go ahead.
I raise the
Go
next
ahead.
point?
I'm listening.
Okay.
I'll ask after.
The first chapter of the Constitution of Greenland. That is like when we talk about the Constitution to other people, it's basically like Americans using the First Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, right? Our Constitution gives a lot about our rights and freedom. So chapter one talk about protection and fundamental rights and freedom. And it says, whereas every person in Grenada is entitled to the fundamental rights and freedom. That is to say, the right to whatever his race, place of origin, political opinions, color, creed, or sex, but not subjected to respect for the rights and freedom of others and for the public interest. Now, that in itself would say, as a human being, you have a right to do whatever you want, except if you do not infringe on our next man's rights and freedom. And that's what I would say. When you wear a seatbelt, you put nobody life at risk but your own, and that is your fundamental right. Then it goes on to section A, which says the right to life. No, life is a thing now. It could be interpreted a lot of different ways. Now, if I have a life and I choose rock climbing, you cannot come and say, Bossman Chateau, that thing, because that's you would not climb that tree, and I put now mandate that you can a law that you should not climb that tree or that rock. If I'm gonna dive, you cannot make a law and say my fundamental rights to life. It is you could drown yourself there. You cannot do that. That is against our whole constitution. It's against all our freedom and everything. Then they talk about the second part, the life to life and liberty, right? And security of the person, protection of the law, right? Talk about liberty. Do you know what is liberty? I mean, most of us we say oaths, allegiance, and things. Do you know what the meaning of liberty?
I'm listening. What is your understanding of liberty?
Okay, but it's not my understanding. I'll tell you the word liberty meaning um is basically being free within society without restriction imposed by government or people of higher authority.
Yeah, the state
So
of being free. The state of being free. Freedom.
yeah, yeah. So when you make a law to restrict one rights and freedom, it goes against our rights, our fundamental rights. So if you're telling me you cannot travel without this or you can, it's basically if you go back to COVID, your body, your choice, your life. You have all that. And that was the whole fight behind COVID. COVID had opened up a lot of things to me, and that was like the best thing that ever happened to me. It showed me um a lot of it enlightened me so much, and I see a lot of things different. The things I used to do basically changed. My mindsets, and this is the same thing. The seatbelt law. Listen to that part, right? Let me take it slow. The seatbelt law is the only law in the whole universe, you can say all countries that have seatbelt law, that demands you to do an action. And that in itself is against human rights because no entity, corporation, federal government, whatever, can come and demand you to do an action. So laws, when they make a law. If you do this, this is the penalty. But they can't tell you if you don't do this, is a penalty. So that in itself shows that the law is illegal. No government has the power to make a law that demands you to do an action. It's just like I telling you, I make a law that you must drink cocoa tea in the morning. No, you catch what I'm saying? So it is the only law that demands you to do an action. No law cannot demand you to do an action. That is against free will. It's against the whole constitution, liberty. It's against life. It's against everything. You can't do that. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
No, I understand where you're coming from, right? I understand where you're coming from. But how do you look at things like, for example, people who carry excess amount of drugs on them with the
Mm,
purpose of consumption for the
mm,
reasoning of behind it? Is
mm,
the police or law enforcement are they right to lock up that person for taking crack
mm.
cocaine in the back of a alleyway? They only endangering themselves.
That yeah, well, that's a great point. That all in itself. If I'm a person that smoke marijuana, or I use substances like that, I would stand up. I wouldn't fight for it for other people, but I could defend myself on that with
Right.
those
Yeah.
kind
I
of
was just
things. I know
yeah. Go ahead.
because when once, let me tell you something, right? And it is factual, right? That if you go to statistics, you would see a lot of people being in a lot of accidents due to drinking and drive. And that's what even that two thing, right? Driving and drinking kills, right? Well, I just bring it like that, right? Why is it not make it mandatory that you don't drink no alcohol? You understand? Because it's one's right to drink as much alcohol. However, if when you go behind a vehicle wheel, now you now have an insane mind where you the probability of you injuring others, they could actually, I would agree with a law like that. Your mind is not focused as being normal, so you would infringe on the safety of other people. And hence is the reason why people ask, well, why the the law with cell phone. Why don't fight for that? Because I have a right to use your cell phone and free speech and so on. This now, there have been facts that when people are on a cell phone, more majority of the time they create accidents. That we have seen that over and over. So I wouldn't really fight a cell phone protest. I for myself, if I get with a cell phone, I could go in court and I could defend myself. But I wouldn't condone such things as using a cell phone. Yeah, myself when I drive in, I abstain from using my cell phone when I drive because I'm endangering other people's life.
Right, right. 718-701-5720. I'm opening up the phone lines right now because a lot of people have questions. Again, that's my questions, and I have a
Mhm.
whole lot more. But I want to
Yeah,
share.
yeah.
I want to have the viewers chime in here, guys. So you could call in live on the WhatsApp, the number 718-701-5720. That's the number on the screen. Or you could call straight call, the number 718-701-5720. I also want to say, guys, if you want to bring across a point, you could bring across your point and be respectfully bringing across your point. You don't have to disrespect nobody. You don't have to get loud. You could just bring across your point if you have to bring across your point. All right. That's how we learn from each other, not by loudness, not by the cussing and none of that stuff. All right. So 718-701-5720. That's my number if you want to call in live. We're talking here with Mr. Ryan Chateau, who is protesting wearing seatbelt, and he's actually paying for it because we'll also talk about tomorrow. He's going back to face the judge, and the probability exists that he will get jail time. Jail time for not wearing a seatbelt. So we'll find out. Ryan's going to find out his fate tomorrow when he
Mhm.
faces and see what happens there. Again, 718-701-5720. You could call in live or you could even chime in your question. But Ryan, I wanna make that clear again. I want to understand this, right? You're also aware that the fine of $1,000 for potentially up to 5 years in prison. You're aware that that's on the books as well, right?
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
Okay, all right. But you don't fear that. I mean, you protesting
Nah,
still,
I
and
don't fear. I have no fear of nothing right now.
okay, all right. So you understand basically the potential of your
Hmm.
and you prepared for it. You don't really mind.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, so you fully understand the terms and the agreement of what's happening here. 718-701-5720, guys. We're chatting here again with Ryan Chateau. So you could call live and you could also call on the WhatsApp. All right. So what happened in the instant, Ryan, that might land you in jail for 5 years tomorrow? Why tomorrow? And why is tomorrow a significant day for you?
O- Okay, well, it all started when I got one of my tickets. I went to court and I met with the magistrate. And well, actually, to end up in this court with tickets because I mean, to make it point, right? I started the protest. I think was around in October of last year. Yeah. So December of last year, I was stopped by a certain RC officer in Grandance area, and he was writing me up tickets. So I said, well, it's okay for you to write tickets. I'm going to go to court, and I'm going to get the opportunity to contest the ticket in court. And then he was there and so on and so on. And then I told him kindly, I say, listen, here what? You could keep your tickets. I am not entering a contract with you, right? So keep your ticket and you could just send me the summon and I'll come in court. Simple like that. I said, but I do not want your ticket. To me, the ticket is garbage to me. I don't need the ticket. So the guy, young man, just come and the man just throw his garbage in my vehicle. So I was like, boss, you can't throw your garbage in my vehicle. So then I opened, there was an officer behind, a constable. So I was opening my door to
Right,
um to call the officer in the back. Where the guy threw the ticket, I didn't touch it. The ticket fell between the door and my leg. So I didn't have no contact with the ticket. As soon as the
right,
ticket fell on the ground, the guy run across by me, hold me by his crutch, and the man applied a lot of pressure on me. All my testicles was in pain. And I was on my truck now, so as I falling down now, coming, the truck was about over 4 feet something because I was on the curb on the wall. When I was coming down, like for support, now my hand probably touched his uniform. And what? There was a big cuff across my face, bust up my face, and so on. And then He turned to me and said, "What, man, you think I'm stupid? You're lucky I didn't have my piece on me." I said, "But what all that for?" He said, "You just assaulted me." I said, "But no, you pulled me by my testicle. I didn't pin. You didn't pin, and you're being pulled and yanked out of your truck. And you don't even have a right to defend yourself. Remind you, I never hit anybody like officers. I never been in any violence. I'm not that person that could fight, you know." And he hold me by my pants and basically dragged me by my testicles to go across in the back and arrested me. And I was brought to court on a $5,000 bill, and I went to court. And the charges was littering, seatbelt charge, and assault on police. And I went in front of the magistrate, and when I enter into appeal, they used out everybody in the courthouse. Everybody went out, so it was only me. It was after about maybe about 3 or 5 past 12, and I've realized, noticed that they have this big screen where they always had a Zoom recording everything in the courtroom. All of a sudden, that screen was turned off. Then it was nobody else in the court except me, the police officer at the door, the prosecutor, the person that was the clerk, and the magistrate, and the guy. And my case, they started to well, catch me on to whatever it is, and I start my case. My case lasted for 2.5, almost 3 hours, to try to convict me for 1 year in prison, because they find, well, when you're doing something good, there's always people that would actually want to hold on the process. So they came out when the magistrate told me she charged me for us. Well, I knew for seatbelt. I say, all right, well, I don't mind you charging me for seatbelt because I'm going to appeal it. So I'm going to go to the back area recognize and appeal form. I want it. And he will go to high court where I'll get to sit with other judges, and I could bring my case forward, because arguing a case like a seatbelt case with a magistrate, it doesn't really yield any results, because that is within, as you say, they have their thing to follow. So I'll take it up to the next form, and from there I would go with the High Court judges. The three of them I would sit down there. If not, I could still go to the CCG and plead my cause. All to find out now the woman charged me 750. The guy stood up there, and the guy went on his platform there, and the guy said that I hold him in his truth. And there is notes of evidence, which I went in the court to apply for the notes of evidence. I still wasn't given the notes of evidence, right? The guy said I hold him in his truth, and he was gasping for breath. So I was asking, how can you be gasping for breath and your hand is on my trousers, pulling my testicles? His response was he trying to secure his prisoner. Mind you, somebody in custody is not a prisoner. Prisoner is somebody is after you being convicted. Then you become a prisoner. So the guy, I said, but how realistic is that? You fighting for your last breath. You have one hand open, right? And you have one hand on my trousers. How is it possible that, and the guy is really strong, muscular build, and he's been like active, like, how could a skinny little guy like me hold a man like that in the truth? Officer on the side here, next officer eating a corner, and the next one sit on me. And you won't tell me I go stand up around the public and hold on. So I turned to him and said, "Do you know this is perjury, making a false oath, a false statement on oath?" He just looked at me, the magistrate, where you learn that from? But I know, because I've read it in the laws. And
Right.
he goes on. So I was charged $1,400 in the court. But prior to that, I have a video online of the whole interaction. So I asked the magistrate, I say, I would like to give you the video as my evidence. She said, "Oh, that video, the whole agreement, I see that, the whole world see that video." I said, "So you see the video?" "No, I don't see that video. I don't see that video." So I've realized the kind of level I was, intimidated by. And she refused to take my evidence from my point of view. So being a magistrate, this is basically, as you could say, a biased decision. I was charged, so I was telling her, I say, okay, well, if you charge me the $1,400, which I don't see why you charge me for assault, I was saying to her, well, I will go and appeal, and then we'll see what goes. She said, "If you don't pay the money, young man, we come in and pick you up in 14 days." I said, "But that is not procedures, you know." Then when I went outside, I asked the prosecutor, I said, "Here, that don't sound right." The prosecutor, you know what he did? He turned to me and he told me that we coming for you and we're gonna jail you. He actually basically make me with fear. He tapped the guy on his back and he said, "Well done." Mind you, almost everybody in Grenada saw that video with that police what he done to me, you know. And this is the level of biasness that is going on in Grenada and the court system. Now, when I
Okay.
went back,
Now go ahead. Sorry, I have a call. That's
yeah,
why. But
yeah. Yeah, when I went back in court now, and she told what she did now. She tried to give me 1 year in prison for littering, but the act with the thing was 2010, and there was an amendment in the law, two amendments, one in 2019 and one in 2015. And when I brought the amendment now, I told her that is not a form of littering. I made I show in the law what is meaning of littering. There was 2019 and then 2015. When she saw that the constable, he was under a constable, he's a rural constable. He didn't have the authority to make the arrest, and neither and the charge was not a arrestable offense. The ticket charge is not a arrestable offense. It's a ticketable offense.
But
And
did they charge you for the ticket, or did I think I saw the video the way the officer was giving you the ticket and you refused to take it, and
yeah,
then
yeah.
right,
Yes. Yeah. So that's the thing. So she know what she did. She break the case in two to charge me for assault and police and seatbelt and tell me to come back in court. I think it was on the 22nd or 23rd for the charge of the littering. But I already know that once you make an illegal arrest, you should be thrown out. So she used a decision which is not protocol to any judgment on the ruling. You cannot have a scenario where you choose half and half and put the other half for later date. When I return to court and that day, she does look at me and she the case what we charge you for, I'm throwing it off. I say okay. I say wow. Because I didn't know worry no, I gonna make a 1 year in jail. So I already, put up
right.
my thing. Um, she looked at me and she said, "You have a charge here." I said, "But I wasn't summoned to court for that. No, the procedures of going to court is being summoned. You must be summoned first, right?" So she looked to me and she said, she and I had a little conversation. We could be like a small argument, and nothing hyper. And she looked to me and she said, and this is the critical part. She said to me that um, she said to me that she and I will be creating history. I was like, I mean, you and I creating history. But already where that coming from because that song bias already. But she is then when she turned to the prosecutor and asking how much charges does he have with seatbelts? No, he turned to the prosecutor and asked how much jail time is for one seatbelt charge. When I hear that, I say, wow. He turned to her and he said 6 months. You know what? She smiled. She said, you know what? You and I would create history. She repeated that 5 times. He had two other persons in the courtroom that day. So if for evidence, I know those guys, I could still meet with them and confirm that. She said that you and I would create history. She looked to the prosecutor and she told him, gather all his tickets and he would come back here. So I turned to her and said, well, if you could create history, then I could get a whole, maybe about 50 people to come here and witness history. I could. She said, no, 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 don't do that, don't do that. I said, why? I said, we're creating history. I said, that to me personally, that sounds like a threat.
Mhm.
Would you agree that if somebody has in a situation like, would you agree that it sounds like a threat?
Well, I have to understand the context, the full context, and I wasn't in court, so I wouldn't be able to really answer that question. But let me just take this quick call here because that
Yeah.
person was holding for quite a minute
Oh,
there.
okay. Yeah.
Caller, like where you calling us from?
I'm calling. Hey, Junior.
Hey, what's up? What you do?
Yes, I'm calling from the beautiful island of Caracou.
Cool, go right ahead.
Good night. Yes, good night to your viewers.
Yes.
Good night to Ryan on your panel tonight.
Yes.
Good night, tonight.
All right.
Yes.
Number one, I would like to start off by saying, not because you want to protest against a law, Ryan, means that you can break the law, to get the law to revise. What I would like to advise Ryan, even though the magistrate already made the decision in giving you 5 years imprisonment, which by that is very hard.
But that decision is not final yet. He'll learn his fate tomorrow.
Oh, it's not final. Oh, on the 24th, if he's getting the Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you the best. I wish you don't come to that. But
Yeah.
see, when you're going up for your license, because I'm a licensed driver, when you're going up for your license, when you're doing the exam, there is a driver's license book that you study. In the book, it teach you about all the codings and all the laws for driving. And belt is a number one priority for driving. So it's not something to talk about when you talk about the Constitution. It's something that is a law for safety. So yes, even though we might not appreciate that law, or even though we might not want to accept the law, we have to abide by the law because we have the traffic departments, which if you get an accident, them will be on the scene of the accident. And sometimes when they do the investigation, sometimes they could say the accident could be caused, the accident could be fatal because of you not wearing a seatbelt or so on and so forth. So it's not something, Ryan, we not because you don't want to wear the seatbelt, you don't wear the seatbelt. You have to follow the law. In any country, no matter if it's in your own country, and it's nothing about like you're trying to help. We in Grenada High pretty much. We all have to abide by the law. If you want to bring forth changes as citizens of the country, what we can do, we can protest. We can get a group of people protest peacefully. We can meet lawmakers, like people part of the parliament, the Senate. You could meet your MPs. You could bring that respectively up to your MPs and so on and so forth. Or lawmakers, and this is the step that you could make, but not breaking the law to make your statement. Right, Ryan?
All right. So listen to his response on the live. Okay, listen to his response on the live. Thank you, caller,
All right,
for
no
calling.
problem.
All right,
Yes.
yeah. Caller from Carriacou there. Yeah. Do you share his views?
Yeah. Well, I would tell you, right? As civil disobedience, I understand what you say and I appreciate your advice and so on. However, I would go back to history with Rosa Parks. You ever heard about Rosa Parks, Mr.
Yes.
George?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
All right. What do you understand by Miss Rosa Parks?
Rosa Parks was very pivotal in America's civil rights movement. She was best known for her courageous act on December 1st, 1955, at Montgomery, Alabama, when she refused to give up a seat to a white passenger. And that was in segregated Alabama at that point in time.
Mhm. Mhm. So, very briefly, what I would say from that, right? Back then, the black people wasn't allowed to have those kind of sittings and so on. And white people would always have, first preference to any seat on a bus. She did a civil disobedient protest. And hence is the reason why today black women and black people could sit in a bus as a black person because of a strong, brave woman like Rosa Parks that stood against the laws of the state and broke it and stand the consequences so that you, as a black nation, have the right now to sit on a seat. And that is it critical to do such things like this. I am not fighting no personal, private person. I'm fighting a situation whereby it could benefit everybody. But the only how with a seatbelt charge only benefit is the government, no one else.
Yeah. And a little bit more about the Rosa Parks thing. Her arrest sparked. So let me check that call. That person was calling for quite a minute. Let me take that call. Caller, live, where you calling us from?
Hi, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, caller. Where you calling us from?
Yeah, I'm calling from Lansopine, St. George, Grenada.
Lansopine, how you doing, my friend? Lansopine.
Yeah, I'm fine. I just tuned into the program, and I must confess that, Mr. Ryan, I judged you wrongly. I thought like you were like a madman. In fact, haven't seen you get all those tickets over and over again. But you made a point with the bus. Because in front of the bus, only 3 persons can be seated there, right? Am I correct?
Yeah, with the
That is the passenger bus in Grenada.
yeah. Some buses, yeah, true.
Right?
Yeah.
So my observation is that the bus is set up in a way for the driver to have a seatbelt. The person in the middle, I don't think there is a seatbelt there, and the person in the end also has a seatbelt.
Yeah.
Now, I recall at one time I was in the passenger bus and I was at the back, and the passenger right at the front didn't have a seatbelt on, and that person got ticketed. Now the passenger right in the middle didn't get a ticket, but that person didn't have a seatbelt also. So it's kind of confusing that if you ought to go to jail, I hope not, for not wearing a seatbelt, then when you come, you should do a protest for the person in the middle to not have seatbelt also.
Exactly.
You know, you go to jail for not wearing a seatbelt. The persons in the middle, they never wear the seatbelt and they never get ticketed. Now, their life is in danger, extreme danger, if you please.
Yes.
So that is just my point, and it is sad to know that this situation reached so far. I judge you wrongly, but having looked at this situation with the minibus and the situation that you're in,
Mm,
it is sad. Even today, the
mm,
passenger in your vehicle, I saw a video. He didn't have a seatbelt, and
yeah.
he didn't get ticketed.
Yeah.
So now it looked like if you're being targeted to me,
Discrimination.
you know. And so that is just my point, you know. That is just my point. But
All
my
right.
heart goes out to you, brother.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
My heart goes out to you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you for your input right
Have
there.
a good night.
Have a good night.
Yeah.
Thanks
Thanks.
in the building. I wanted to give some folks more information on the Rosa Parks situation there. So Rosa Parks, as I said, is a pivotal figure in the American civil rights movement. She was best known for her courageous act on December 1st, 1955 in Montgomery, Alabama, when she refused to give up her seat to a white passenger on the segregated bus. Arrest sparked the Montgomery bus boycott, a 381-day protest that became a defining moment in the struggle against racial segregation in the United States. So, what you're saying, Ryan, I just want to get it clear that your civil disobedience is to
Mm,
enact changes
mm.
because an equivalent to what Rosa Parks did with her civil disobedience.
Discrimination. Yeah.
Equivalent. All right, see your point. Let's jump to the phone line. We got another call in line. Caller, like where you calling us from? And that's a valid point, by the way. That's a valid point. Caller, go right ahead.
Calling from New York. Calling from New York, Junior.
New York, go right ahead.
Junior, I will say this. I
Uh-huh.
hope you listen.
Yeah.
Creating false equivalencies just to feel like he's accomplishing something. He's just getting ahead of himself.
Mhm.
Let me say this, Junior. You're in New York. To acquire a license, you have to do the test for the permit.
Right.
You have to do the pre-licensing course, that is the 5-hour course, and it teaches you all the things that you need to do from the moment you get into a vehicle. And one of them, as the first thing mentioned, is using your seatbelt. Now, I would have loved to get an answer from him to do a follow-up question, because he seems to believe that the only person that could be harmed by the use of the seatbelt is himself, and that is what he's trying to defend. But the question I have to ask him, if he thinks the only person that takes responsibility is himself for using the seatbelt, what happens when he becomes a projectile that leaves the vehicle and could possibly damage somebody else? What happens in that scenario? Is it about his safety alone?
Right. Valid point. Valid point. Ryan?
No, Junior,
Uh-huh.
just to say, every vehicle produced has to meet safety standards to be viable for the road. This nonsense thinking that is only about you. Vehicles could hydroplane.
Yeah.
There is something called centrifugal forces. There is something called gravity. There is something called speed. There is something called friction. Where you get into your head so much that you figure the seatbelt is just about you alone, and you can't leave that vehicle. Everything in that vehicle could become a projectile, as well as the human sitting in the driver's seat. And just to add, the last thing, this thing about other people not being charged is not true. And you could ask that, Junior, and prove me wrong. This is not true. I have witnessed passengers being charged for not wearing seatbelts.
Right.
If in his personal experience he has never witnessed it, then fine. It is fair to say that. But you could follow up on it and prove me wrong. Passengers has been charged for not using seatbelt. Bye.
All right. Thank you, caller. Thank you for your input. As it's written, it should be that passengers get charged as well. So you can't discriminate. You can't make a law for one set and not. And that's not how the law is written. It's how it's enforced. I think again, law enforcement probably sometime using some discretionary measures. I don't know. But if it's written that way and they're enforcing the law should be enforced all the way. Not half of the way, not partial, but the whole front seat. You're not wearing your seatbelt, they should get a seatbelt as well. Right? And I believe that that's how it's supposed to happen. Right? We also put a poll on your phone. You're gonna start seeing that poll. You're gonna see that poll pop up on your phone. You could just answer that, and we're gonna reveal the results at the end of the program. All right, that poll is on everybody's device. At the bottom of the program, at the bottom of your program, you should see that poll there. You could just click that yes or no answer there, so we get a better understanding of what the audience feel. So Ryan, what's next? What's your plans? After this, because now you have to face the judge tomorrow. Of course, whoever the judge is, she's going to know that you was on ride along tonight, and you have to face that tomorrow. Are you prepared for a worst case scenario? And what happens after that? Well, hold on, sorry. I think I muted you for a second. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I always prepare for the worst first before um yeah, I was saying I always prefer for the worst first before anything. Anytime I'm doing something, I already prepare. I actually prepared to make time in jail, and or if it don't happen, then I'm happy still. So um, with me, I do not still with all that. I stand firm with what is my take. Regardless if I make jail or whatever. At the end of the day, you know what? I'll still be happy, and I control my happiness just as my freedom and rights. So I would never allow somebody else to take my happiness from me. So regardless if I'm get locked up for 3 to 5 years and I'm in an area and I don't have this, I know how to make the best of life in anything and still be happy. The only thing my concern is about now is that I am not being summoned to the court tomorrow. But I would appear. And normally the procedures of going to court to form charges, there must be someone. That is under the laws of Greenland. There must be someone. Now, when we have a complainant, which is the commissioner of police, and when the commissioner of police doesn't summon a magistrate already, made that decision, it doesn't come from the commissioner of police. So on right off the bat, I know I'm going there with an unfair and biased decision. I don't even think I would have the opportunity to appeal. I would have to plead because I already get the feeling that is what gonna happen and is that is what gonna happen. Yeah. And mind you, she had asked me to go in the prosecution department and they don't get a bailiff a bail to give me serve me, but to go down there. I've been to the prosecution department twice, and it's to me locked, and I never get the charge sheets. So up to now, I don't understand what charges am I going to face tomorrow. So I'll just see how it plays out. You know what I mean? I just think it's not only me, a lot of other lawyers which I spoke to, they tell me, everyone is having a problem with this particular magistrate on the way she reacts. I mean, to me, I had good experience with her and I had bad experience with her. So it's not like I'm going to attack her and she walk or whatever. And I always just hope for the best for people because I know human beings act by the emotion sometimes. So I don't hold I no regard of hatred or whatever. And all I just hoping for is a fair trial tomorrow. That's all. If I have a fair trial, I know I'll be safe. If I don't have a fair trial, then y'all wouldn't see me.
Okay. Well,
Um,
we'll follow up.
you want me to answer the question from the caller that
Yes,
just
yes,
yeah.
please.
No, he was saying no. If I think that the safety belongs to me, and I could propel off of a vehicle and kill somebody. Now, when you look at statistics through the whole world, and if you could go and find one instance where the driver fell out of a vehicle and hit somebody and kill them, then I would like that information. However,
Not fall out of the vehicle and hit somebody and kill them. I think fall out of the vehicle and you become a projectile. That's what he
a
was.
projector, yeah, projectile, right?
Right.
So being a projectile now, you must be ignited to project, right? However, I meet in an accident or whatever. However, a truck travels with load, and I'm bringing similar situations, right? Truck
Uh,
travels with loads, and it have been statistics could prove that a lot of materials or whatever cargo fell out of trucks and kill people already. So he making that statement will just show that you narrowing all accident down to something just because a man don't wear a seatbelt. But and he was talking about wearing seatbelt. Now, why is it that nobody in the back of a truck? Imagine it, a truck coming down. Let's just take for instance a well-known company. Let's say, well, no, let me not call company name. A company coming from Grenville with construction workers, and you have 20 workers in the back of trucks, and nobody's wearing seatbelts. None. And that's why, as you said, you realize now that the law is being biasly done. And for you to attack just people based on where they seated in a vehicle shows a form of discrimination. And I want to bring a reference and bring the point to the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister was a lawyer. Well, I think he's a lawyer still. He used to work for my aunt. So I well known around the guy. I know he had one time I did a video with him, and I actually came out and called him a con man. Oh, and that is where I give a lot of respect to him because I don't know if you ever saw that video where I call him a con man.
I didn't see it.
Okay, I call him a con man because, and I give the meaning of a con man that they charge for a license upgrade and they fixing the road and they didn't fix the roads, and that man actually went back into Parliament, and the 2nd of this year that man took off the $50 charge. And I salute that man. I respect when I know that you have maybe a prime minister that is listening. I give him forward. He didn't attack me and say he's sending the police force behind me to attack me and bring me to court. He actually understood my pain. So that's why I'm calling here. I'm calling all on the parliamentary representatives. You have like men like Mr. Andrew and Mr. Tester. They was my teachers in school, and I been around those, and I would like to see that even Ron Redhead and all those guys. I would like to see them take the initiative to see, all right, there is concerns and laws in the world in the law that is illegal. The PM knows what I'm saying because he's a lawyer and he understands law. You know, so I would like somebody to reach out to them and just tell them, hey, this is what I'm fighting for. And I've seen he try to make some adjustment in laws because I think he passed one the last time that says that a magistrate, if you don't send somebody in jail for last 3 months or 4 months, you cannot meet one person and send them in jail. So if you haven't sent nobody in jail for let's say 3 to 6 months for a seatbelt charge, you cannot just come and say, all right, Ryan, you're sending him in jail. You understand?
Hmm.
So all those things are them there. I mean, there is a lot of things. I was called in twice in the traffic department and was offered an exemption for wearing seatbelt.
Okay.
They told me just go to if you don't want to wear seatbelt, just go to a doctor and we will handle you. I said no, I am not fighting for myself. I'm not being selfish. I'm fighting for the people of Greener, which I saw that old man on that day, and I know there's a lot of people that reach out to me and tell me, what, they can't take it. You know how much family members will say they get broke because instead of minding the family, they can give the government 150, 350 for something they don't care about the family, they don't care nothing about the state doesn't care. If they talk about you risking your life. Okay, so if I'm doing something that I love and I risking my life, and you want to put a charge, take for instance, sex with having sex without a condom is high risk to somebody. It results sometimes in STDs and you die. Why is there not a law for that for 150? People smoke cigarette
But if
and
but if but if somebody go wrong and
mm,
infect other people
mm,
with STD knowingly, give
mm,
other people HIV,
mm,
right? There is a law for that.
yeah. But if the law, you see now, you gotta be it's technical, eh? Because if you have a STD and you go to a woman to get a STD, she had to willingly consent to having an intercourse with you.
Yeah.
So So that there stands on her own responsibility as a human being. I have a human and fundamental right of one protection and safety comes in. If
Right.
she had concern, she probably could have say, "Hey, what? You know what? I'll wear condom because of that." So
Okay.
you see how intricate this ticklish this situation is.
I
When you
don't want to get into the STD conversation because I think that's going far away from where we started. But let me just take this call. Let's take this call.
yeah.
Call where you're calling us from.
Yes, I'm calling from New York.
New York, right ahead.
Yes. My question to Mr. Ryan: if he should be sentenced to tomorrow, when he comes out from prison or so, would he continue to go down that same path, challenging whatever rules or law
Yep.
he's challenging now, and continue to repeat the same procedure, or would he have a change in his behavior towards the law? That's all I want to know.
Uh, and my point on that is no. I when I stand firm on something, I die fighting for what I know. So I don't even mind losing my life for the cause that I put on my foot on, and that's what it is. And as you said, he called from I think it's New York. He said, "No, how biased the law is. When you're in New York, when you travel on a train, you remember it's all about safety in traveling, right? We talking about just driving, just safety. You get on a train, and a train is traveling within 60 miles to the super train, 170 miles. All right, you're traveling. You're not exempt. You are allowed not to wear a seatbelt, but you're traveling. You're going on a public bus in New York or Canada, wherever. You don't have to wear no seatbelts. You know why? Because a government organization. So when you go into the private vehicles, that's who you want to charge. You understand? Because it's privately owned. So why is it when you go on public transportation, your safety and your movements is not compromised? Only when you go on a private. So when you look at the law shows a level of bias that's throughout the whole entire world, not only Grenada, to the whole entire world. I'm saying this to say one of the callers said when you're going to do your license, the one from Caricut said that you had to wear seatbelt. I passed my license not wearing a seatbelt. It wasn't law. I drove for like about 8, 9 years before this law was implemented. I travel safe. I don't wear a seatbelt for the last almost from 8 months, 9 months. I'm still alive and healthy and well. But people would wish I'm in an accident and die. But I understand that. But if I'm standing in front of a magistrate alive and well and healthy, you cannot charge me and say that I put my life at risk. You understand? Because I'm alive, well, health, and well. So you cannot put a charge. Why are you charging me for?
Right.
You catch? Then
Let's take that call real quick. Sorry, not sorry. I didn't want to cut you. I think we have a call on the line.
the-
There.
the-
Caller, are you there?
Yeah, that's me.
Oh,
Sure.
sorry. Okay, sorry. I thought I swapped it. This caller here. Caller on the WhatsApp. Go ahead.
Hi, good night.
Hey, good night, caller. Go ahead.
Right. Calling from Grenada.
Hey, Grenada. Yeah, go right ahead, Grenada.
Yes, I've seen a couple of videos with the gentleman refusing to accept tickets, and I think there were ones he showed the whole stack of tickets and said it all that he's not going to pay. I did not see the commencement of your program, but I really would like to understand the reason why he doesn't want to pay the ticket or he's not paying the tickets. You understand? And my thing, if it's the law, why be so difficult? He just a while ago he just said that a gentleman asked if he's going to after he go to jail or if he goes to jail, if he would come back out and do the same thing. And he said yes. So I mean, I think he's even digging a deeper hole for himself by saying this, putting this out there, because they would go already with a kind of preconceived idea of what his intentions are. So I think he's digging a deep hole for himself, and this is something he should really think about what he's putting out there.
All right, thank you for that.
That's
All right,
my
thank
question.
you. All right. Yeah, Ryan.
yeah. I appreciate her concerns, and as I say, I stand firm because when I stand for something, I stand for something. But even if you go to court and with the case I'll develop, I could always take it to the appeal court and
Yeah.
so on, and I could be refunded monies from that because once you could show evidence and you could show discrimination under the law, then you could still get through. So if going in jail, I don't look at anything. I look at it as a new opportunity whereby maybe I could do something great. I always think about greatness. I don't think about anything smaller than that. Wherever I go, I would make a change. I would make a change.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Uh,
Right. Well, listen. We're out of time. We're gonna continue to follow this story, and I'll check in with you tomorrow and see what's your fate, what happened. All right, we'll check you out and see. I report back here on Ride. But let me tell you this. A few things that you said, I think that it's valid. The whole Rosa Parks thing, I think sometimes you have to uh, challenge the system because the system is made up in a way that if you don't challenge, you're just gonna just leave the way how the system is set. So I am I'm understanding where you said your position is to challenge the status quo,
mhm,
right? And there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of changes came by protest,
mhm.
right? So I understand your point of view where that is concerned. Let's take this last caller, and we'll wrap up. Caller, live. Where you calling us from? Hold on. Yeah, caller on the phone line. Go right ahead.
Yeah, calling from Grenada.
Grenada, go right ahead.
Yeah, Ryan is my partner. And aside from that, big up yourself, bad boss. What I want to say is,
Yeah.
I respect you and I'm happy that you're making the push for what you believe in. Aside from that, hello?
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
hearing.
Okay, good. Aside from that, I like the fact that he's pushing towards that direction. Mainly because, first of all, he made a couple points. You see, you can drive your vehicle. He's been driving his vehicle for how much months without a seatbelt, and he's been safe. He's been good. He hasn't damaged anybody. I know this guy personally, and he doesn't even pass 40 miles per hour. You understand? Grenada doesn't have no highway to talk about to say the man speeding down the road or man rushing to go. It's just, it's absurd to see that okay, for example, you're driving around the Grand Anse roundabout, you just pull out a CKs, the police charge you. Come on, man. You just come out of the bank. You're running to go and do something else just across the street. They charge you. Come on. I think it's just ridiculous. And what he's fighting for, with all the points that he's making, looking at it, guys riding on truck in the back, in the tray. No seatbelt, no protection, no helmet, no string, no rope. I mean, there's a lot of other dangers around the whole situation of what he's going through right now. Number one, again, the buses. All these buses on the road, up and down all day, people. And let me tell you, the buses are driving worse than how he drives his truck. And we're only saying he and his truck for now because that's the situation we're talking about. But all the buses on the road, a matter of fact, they should implement seatbelts or cause all these buses to have seatbelts and ensure that people are wearing a seatbelt, because if the vehicle ends up in an accident and somebody in the back there, they can fly forward and hit the head on the driver's seat, mash up their face, whatever. I mean, for example, even if, like for example, just looking at how the buses will be driving in Grenada on this St. David's Road, because it's wide and it's a bit more free and open. These buses driving so fast, my friend. If they just edge off the road, the people who in there could break their neck, fall off out of the bus, out of the window. I mean, there's a lot of different factors we can look at around when it comes to transporting yourself in your vehicle. Look at me. I drive with my kids. My kids sit in the back seat, and my kids never wear their seatbelt. They're sitting in the back seat. You know what I mean? They come in the front, I let them put on the seatbelt. I wear my seatbelt because why? I can't deal with the situation with police and all this drama, so I put my seatbelt on. But for what he is doing now, I respect him, because at the end of the day, seatbelt
is there for those who want to wear it. And he chose not to wear it, and I respect him on that because there's a lot of other areas where people are transporting people and transporting themselves, and they're not wearing seatbelts. For example, the guy from Lansopine said people in the middle of next to the driver, people next to the driver, no seatbelt, but the bus moving. I see secondary school children sitting in front of bus, no seatbelt in the middle. If you slam a brake, they have to grab the dashboard in order to keep themselves upright. So I looking at the program, and not only because I know Ryan, but I understand where Ryan coming from, and I think they're getting him wrong, and I think he's doing a good thing. Aside from seatbelt being fixed to a vehicle, people have the choice to choose whether or not to wear it, and I don't think you should get a charge because you choose not to do that. I just think it's not necessary. That's a part of the law that I think we should just throw out. If people choose to wear the seatbelt, they wear it. They choose not to wear it, they not wear it. And it's just a clear choice. Because there's people, like, for example, I drive my vehicle. I know that people drive their vehicle. Here's what some people stop and they put their car straight in park. They never use the handbrake. The handbrake is there to use. People choose to use it. It's a choice.
Right. Okay.
So
thank you, caller.
That's just my take, and I respect Ryan. I like what he's doing, and I tell him just keep going. He's gonna succeed because
caller. But hold on.
You
and I'm not saying that Ryan is not making valid point. You want to support him and keep doing what you're doing, but you're just not gonna do it.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's a personal choice. I'm not saying that they should say, well, okay. For example, there's people who do things by habit. You jump in the car, okay, Bram, you put on the seatbelt.
Yeah.
For example, me, many times I leave home, and the only time, and sometimes I leave home, my seatbelt blaring, beep. I just drive until the thing stop beep. I just can't be bothered with the seatbelt,
right.
to be honest.
Okay.
But again, I put it on because I don't want to encounter the drama. Right. I don't have time for the drama. I have time for my life. I'm a thing that I have to do. So that's it. I support what the man said. Okay. I agree, because if there's a law to be amended and changed, I will be the first man to take off my seatbelt and drive.
Okay. All right, caller.
I'm just not doing it because the law says so.
Right. Okay.
But I don't think the law should be that way specifically for a seatbelt, because people have a choice.
Okay.
People have their choice. It's their choice to use a seatbelt.
Okay. All right, caller.
Not because you have it, you should use it,
I got you. Thank you, caller, for your input.
Yeah, man.
All right. All right, Ryan. Thank you so much for joining us.
Ryan, hold on. Let me just give me 2 minutes. Let me just make another point. I could have a time. Let's do 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah, take two.
All right, 2. I'll just speak a little fast, right? Example, 2 weeks out, about a month ago, I stepped in my vehicle, and right in Redgate, the guy with a bike coming up, and I didn't have on my seatbelt, and the guy was coming, lost control of the bike. The bike was headed straight to my vehicle. The guy fall off due to road, I think. The man ended up, he was a scooter, just driving about 18 miles around the average speed. And that bike rolled straight up onto my vehicle and hit the bumper and fly up. Now, when I see that I was coming now, because I was not restricted by a belt, I heave across on the next side. Had it been now, let's say a ninja bike, weighing over 300 pounds and coming at 40 miles, and I stuck on a seatbelt, my life died. I did. Next scenario. My brother met in an accident in 2011. The passenger died on spot. The seatbelt stuck him to the seat. The top of the truck, the van came down and split his head. He died on spot. My brother sustained injuries. The seatbelt, because of the seatbelt holding on the seat. Now, I do not know if you're dead or you're alive now waiting, but hold on to the seatbelt. The seatbelt broke had three broken ribs. Both of his lungs punctured. He was on a machine for 33 days unconscious. 2011 up to now, he's just about 75% back to where he was. Okay. In last year, late down November, there was a Altiza that flipped in Lansopine. The seatbelt broke the guy's neck. 2015, a vehicle was traveling up in Marion, and they met in an accident. The seatbelt broke the child neck. All right. Now, there was this one. Well, maybe I could call him a very good friend of mine. His name was Micah, a good keyboardist, a well-known guy from Guelph. He met in an accident on the highway, and when he met in an accident, I remember one of the couple came and they said, had it not been for the seatbelt, he'd have surely be a dead man. 3 days after, he died, and he died because of what? His seatbelt broke 3 ribs, punctured his lungs. He died 3 days after. Last Easter, I have a cousin. Maybe most people know him as Roger, my cousin. That man came in from Springs, and a vehicle was coming, so he was from a by road, and a lady was coming down. She lost control of her car, and because he was restricted on his seat, the vehicle ran straight on him, and he couldn't move to defend himself, and he died right there on the way to the hospital. So there's many scenarios going up over Foxing. The water truck was going up there. They lost control. They didn't have a seatbelt. They jumped out. The life saved. Maybe if they had it on, they would have dead in the truck. Coming down Mount Rush, these two persons coming down from the quarry, they lost control. The passenger didn't have a seatbelt. He jumped off of the truck. The driver was restricted by his seatbelt. He went into the wall and he died right there. Pumpkin, a guy I was taught, because I can't remember him time. He with the gas truck on the Molyneux side going over there. The truck flew over in the sea, and because he couldn't come out, the seatbelt killed him. He stayed there and he died. We had a doctor in St. Lucia. I was just saying the other day. One was telling me. He said he met an accident and went down in the sea, and the seatbelt killed him. And I'm saying to say that now it is a hazard for you. Very short, let me make it fast, right? An emergency vehicle in Grenada is exempted from wearing a seatbelt. This is the most high risk form of transportation you could ever be in. You as a driver of an ambulance, you don't have seatbelts. You put a pregnant woman and say she exempted. Well, why she exempted? Because why? The seatbelt could kill that child. So just you don't care about the woman herself. You care about the baby because the seatbelt could think. So what? It's like a level of biasness. You give a man an exemption, a medical exemption. What the exemption was say? When you meet an accident, yo, don't kill me because I have an exemption on the phone. So I tell you the level, when you start to think, the level of reasoning is absurd. Anyway, let me not hold back much of your time, right? I would say I really appreciate you having me on your program tonight, because it means a lot to me, and I always remember that throughout my entire life that it helped me out. You know?
Man. All right, no problem, Ryan. And best of luck tomorrow, okay?
Yeah, man. Cheers. Yeah, so to all the viewers, I appreciate having you guys, and I hope I could enlighten somebody, But one more thing before I go, all Grenadians should have one in this, right? Only $20. Constitution and the laws of Grenada.
All
right.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Ryan there. We're gonna follow that up tomorrow. And see how things plays out. Let me say, guys, because I do believe, from my experience, that wearing the seatbelt is simply an action that significantly reduces the risk of death and serious injuries in a vehicular crash. According to global safety data, seatbelts reduce risk of death by 45% in front seat passengers. It cut the risk of injury by up to 50%, preventing ejection from the vehicle, which is almost and always a fatal act. So I do believe, and I've seen evidence that I would encourage everyone to wear their seatbelt, right? Nonetheless, I do understand Ryan's protests and why he's doing it. And I think that you can fault the police officers for doing their jobs, right? You can't fault the police officers for enforcing the law. They're law enforcement, and that's what they do, all right? So I'll say that. The legislator, the one that put it together, they're the one that should be targeted if you want the laws to change. I got just like a quick break. This program is brought to you with the kind compliments of Geneva Cottage, guys. If you're looking for a place to stay while in Grenada, Geneva Cottage offers long-term and short-term rental. Located only 5 minutes from the famous Grand Anse Beach and Maurice Bishop International Airport, SGU is just right around the corner. You could call him at 347-355-63. Oh, let me give you the local number in Grenada. The local number in Grenada is 473-403-6439. That's in Grenada. Okay, number is 473-403. If you're looking for a place to stay, call 473-6439. That's in Grenada. Geneva's Cottage, check them out. In Grand Anse area. Or you can check Airbnb, yeah? Check out Airbnb and search Geneva's Cottage, St. George. That's in Woodlands area. Right Along Live is brought to you with the kind compliments of Geneva's Cottage. We'll be right back.
Calling the CARICOM community, assembling Global Africa, the 4th edition of the Afri-Caribbean Trade Investment Forum. Active 2025 is coming to St. George, Grenada, this 28th to 29th July. Join government and business leaders, investors, and trade and finance institutions to explore the theme, resilience and transformation. Enhancing Africa-Caribbean economic cooperation in an era of global uncertainty. Be there as we stand together to strengthen our commercial ties, to promote shared trade and investment opportunities, and unlock prosperity for Africa, the Caribbean, and the wider diaspora. The 4th Afri-Caribbean Trade and Investment Forum. Reserve your place now at active2025.com.
Yeah, you want to be a part of the trade investment program right there. Because I got to show you guys this, right? Because we've been telling you about
family.
We've been telling you about this from since yesterday. So for those of you going for Carnival, I have this perfect boat ride Monday night mass excursion for you. We put all of it in one. It's a whole kalaloo. It's a boat ride, it's an excursion, it's a Monday night mass. Monday night, this is what's gonna start off the whole thing. And look who's gonna be there. Mr. Killer.
Hands in the air. Sing along with the anthem. I know this year I'm gonna make a lot of money. A lot of money. A lot of money.
Blessed love and greetings, family. The FFF family, friends, fans, and family worldwide. Now, if you're here for Carnival Spice Mass, I don't want you to miss this one. Monday night mass, which is the 11th of August. After you play Juve Puti Mass, you know Monday night mass is one of the most beautiful things you could ever experience here in Grenada Carnival. I have something special for you. Ride excursion aboard the Esther Sea is going to be an amazing cruise that is going to take you into the Monday night mass. So I want you to join me, full performance. This is how we starting our Monday night mass on the seas, and we're going into the Carenage. So here what's happening. I want you guys to make sure you join me for this ride, because trust me, it's going to be a ride of your life.
Me my whole team make a lot of money. A lot of money. A lot of money. Blessings on me, no shadows can't stop my money. Can't stop my money. Can't stop my money. God bless my eyes, yes, I can see it coming. A lot of money. A lot of money. Look here. Pyro in the air. Cake everywhere. Celebrate years. Not a fast starter, not entrepreneur. If you're doubling your M's, let me hear you holler. Make money, but it don't come easy, so you gotta pay me back if you wanna borrow from me. Tell me ASAP, girl like Riri. Me and the money, not bumper to bumper. Not only money, if you cool my temper.
Yeah. Monday night mass with amazing colors. We're on the road and on the water. We're on the water first. We're on the water. And after the water finish, you could go and do the other part of the Monday night. But that's how early start, eh? We boarding like about 7 o'clock, 7-ish. Right? It's a vibe. Make sure you get your packages right now. Go to ride.gd. And let me tell you, the packages and them is sexy to blow. Yo. Look at thing. Let me tell you, Monday night mass never looked this good. Never look this delicious. It's nice. It could be pretty. It could be super califragilistic, espialidocious. It'll be really nice. Monday night mass with a difference. Mr. Killer. And guess who else is going to be on there, guys? Guess who else is going to be on there? Short Pre. Yeah, man, Short Pre is going to be on there as well. Short Pre's on the boat. Monday Night Mass with amazing colors. Get your packages now at ride.gd. Go to ride.gd. And listen, for the men, we can't have the women outdressing the men. The men have their shorts, their shirt, and we come in looking proper. All right, men, we come in looking proper. You got your glow stick, you got your glow everything. Just like Monday Night Mass, the same thing, everything. That's what you get. Limited package available at ride.gd. Get it now. Get it tonight. Go to ride.gd or inbox for the link. See you on the road. Monday Night Mass with amazing colors. It is amazing. Amazing. So amazing.
$10 on Playway, $20 backup on Pick 3, and cash for each, please.
Okay, are you adding multi-X to your bet?
Yes, multi-X, all of them.
Smart! Best value bet. Backup and multi-X, you cannot go wrong.
Don't matter the bet, multi-X all of the daily games.
With multi-X added, your winnings can be multiplied 3 times, 5 times, even 7 times. So make it a rule. Add multi-X to all your Playway, daily Pick 3, and daily cash for bets every day and for every drop, and watch your money grow. Available at stores and online.
You heard it here. Multiply your winnings daily. Must be 18 or older to play. NLA, making your dreams come true.
Ridgeway Residences, a modern, exclusive residential community offered by Ariza. Purchase one of our completely built houses or let us build for you by simply choosing your lot, choosing your home design from our selection, and let us do the rest. Owning a home does not have to be a frustrating process. For more information, contact Ariza Credit Union on 415-0994 or send us an email on info@ridgewayresidences.gd. Ridgeway Residences, hassle-free home ownership.
Celebrating 40 years is a significant milestone that often evokes reflection, gratitude, and recognition of accomplishment.
Feeling very excited about it. When I reflect on it, some artists took 10 to 15 years before they get through. They keep knocking at the door. The first time the nation heard about the Limers Gilbert, they show me that love, they show me that respect. They go crazy over the beats, they go crazy over the excitement, they go crazy over the rhythm. And I appreciate that.
Sunday, August 3rd at the Progress Park in St. Andrew. It's Specky 40. Tickets available from gotofed.com. Presented by Limers Gilbert in association with the Spice Mass Corporation and Sedu.
Yeah. Hey guys, don't forget, again, if you're in Grenada and you're looking for a place to stay, for the carnival season, you got to check out Jennifer's Cottage. And you could call right now. 2 numbers. Locally, 473-404-6401. Or that's in Grenada. Or you could call 347-355-6305. Write those numbers down. Stick it on your fridge. So, 473-404-6401. Or 347-355-6305. Or you can even call 646-397-8484. All of those numbers, write it down. Jennifer's Cottage, located in Woodlands area, close to everything. Everything. I'm going to leave you guys tonight with a video, one of my favorite video. And he's going to be on the boat for Monday Night Mass with Amazing Colors. Good night. We'll leave you with this one. See you on the boat. Listen, see you on the boat, guys. Don't forget, get your package tonight. Get your package tonight. And if you get your package tonight and you message me and you tell me you're getting your package tonight, I have a little coupon code for you, for the True Riders. If you watch the program tonight and you're getting your package tonight, call me before you get your package. I'm going to give you a discount code. You get a little something off. All right? I'll give you a little something off just because you watch the program tonight. Catch you guys tomorrow. Good night.
Them girls, them love fun. That's what the girls want. Well, as a Rasta man, normally me no go downtown. So when I do, I go make it tongue. Last week I take her downtown and she shut off a couple rounds. Hit a couple spots where we never been. Yes, we try new things. One night of pleasure, one night could bring a lifetime of change. One night of pleasure, one night. One spark is all that it takes. And I say straight, I feel right now she fall in love with the tongue action. Tongue action, the sweet action in tongue. Cause every night she in me head about tongue action. Tongue action, it's reaction of tongue. She said come on now, let we go. Let's go. I want to go downtown and party some more. I could do with that action all over again. Whether sun, whether rain, let's do it again. One night of pleasure, one night could bring a lifetime of change. One night of pleasure, one night. One spark is all that it takes. And I say straight, I feel right now she fall in love with the tongue action. Tongue action, it's sweet action in tongue. Cause every night she in me head about tongue action. Tongue action, it's real action of tongue. Say come on boy and let we go. I have a big surprise waiting just for you. My girlfriend calling me, yeah she keep texting me. How she want to go party, jump for fun with me. One night of pleasure, one night